Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to World Class Tools Make New Hope for this holiday season with I'm Ambassador Terry Earthwind Nichols, along with my fabulous co host, Dr. Z. Miriam, it's so wonderful to have you here. Welcome.
Having me and all of you that are joining us. Thank you so much for being with us today. Our hope today is to bring hope, actually, and to make this new season an opportunity for all of us to create new plans for the future, to get together, to feel like we belong, and to try to bring these negative emotions and negative situations that have been surrounding us during the last couple of years to a point that we can use them to grow and to achieve new dreams for this, for the future that is waiting for us.
Absolutely, absolutely. And ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about what Evolutionary Healer is all about in our global um, company. And we're a global performance transformation company, currently on 6 continents. Was it 17 countries now, doing business in 6 languages? Not bad in 10 years. We're doing okay. And Dr. Z, we wanted to do this after talking. We did a interview with my weekly podcast, What Are You Doing? And her new book, hint, hint, we're going to hear about that in just a minute. Her new book just resonated with me. And in my mind, for those of you who know me on LinkedIn, you'll see that I'm a marketing guy from way back, and people watch for me in 2022. And I was working about, okay, it's coming into the holiday season, a lot of stress. There's a lot of things that go on that we deal with, and so this conversation just turned into here we are and some fabulous tools. Now, we have a couple of great guests that'll be coming on, actually 3 guests that'll be coming on over the next few minutes or so. And we're excited to have them for their participation in their work and how valid it is during this season. And so, Miriam, you want to do a little 3G in, or what are you thinking?
Well, the idea of the 3G is to change the way that we see life. During the last couple of years, like many of you, I went through I don't know, the surprising moment, the aha moment that my life was not what I wanted it to be. That I was living under the illusion that I was successful, but it was just kind of a lie. It was something that I was telling myself. And COVID opened the eyes to me and allowed me to see what priorities were in my life, and how many of them I was really compromising, trying to fulfill requirements that society were forcing me to, or that I thought they forcing me to. I was forcing myself. I guess I was my worst boss at the end. And to reconsider my life. And that's how the book comes, and why 3G comes to life too. And 3D changed the perspective of life like something that is linear. I believe that I have been running kind of like everyone else, after a dream, after perfection, after success. And at some point, I start forgetting what was I running for. I was just running, and trying to really avoid failure, and avoid bad feelings, and avoid being not able to fit. So I was not running for things that were positive. I was running away from things that I thought that were negative, and feeling guilty all the time, tired all the time, and disappointed all the time. So 3D changed that perspective in a way that life is kind of a video game for me now. I see life a way that we have level after level, opportunity to close a level, which I call a cycle, and go to the next level, learning something from it. And the truth is that in a video game, we don't stop or we die at the first attempt. We have also more attempts to finish that level, to do it better, and to go to the next level. And that is kind of the way that I am seeing life. The fact that I don't get what I want at the first time doesn't mean that I am a bad person, or I fail, or I am not able to achieve my dreams in the next attempt, or I cannot change my mind. And that's something that applies to all of you too. Maybe during these 2 last years, you felt like things were not going in the right direction. Maybe you find out that life was not the way that you wanted. But that's not the end of the story. That's the beginning of the story. That means that you have an opportunity now. That whatever happened around your life, for good or for bad, was a red flag that allowed you to understand this is not who I want to be. There is someone else that I want to be. There's something else that I want to achieve, and go for it. And that's what we want to bring right now to you, the opportunity to change your direction without feeling that you are failing. It's actually the opposite. It's change your direction feeling like you are self-aware, that you have the strength and you have the core values that will allow you to achieve who you want to be and the life that you want to have and that you deserve.
Wonderful, wonderful. And that's a great segue at this point to bring on our first guest, Ashok Bhattacharya. And I'm going to let you know him quite well. I'm going to let you introduce him and I'll bring him up.
I will let him to talk about his achievements, academic achievements, and leadership achievements. But I will say something with my heart. During my last year while writing the book, I started contacting people through LinkedIn, really, and asking for mentorship and for support and opportunities to learn. And I found Ashok, and Ashok became a mentor, a friend, and someone that is for me a role model. And his heart, there. Well, I was planning to talk about your heart. His heart is so big that I believe that nobody else can talk about compassion and kindness and many positive feelings like he can. So, Ashok, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for touching my life in such a positive way.
Well, I thank both of you actually, because this is a continuing opportunity for us to talk about what we're learning in this very complex time, not just in North America, but in the world as well. And I started a clinic called the Empathy Clinic many years ago. And I happen to be a psychiatrist, so don't be too mad at me for saying that or hold it against me. But I'm very interested in how our stories influence who we are as people. And our stories start way before we're born. Our stories start with our foreparents, to be that way. And I think that when I think about my grandparents and their grandparents and me eventually coming into this place to have my experience as a person, I'm also having the chance to reflect, but also to influence. And I think when we influence, and I think this is what's so beautiful what you're doing, Miriam, when we influence, we have the chance to make the right choices, but also help people share our stories. And when we share stories, it is such a powerful way to help people reflect on how they can amplify and implement maybe a solution for themselves that may not be the same as our own story, but it would be different. And for me, empathy is entering somebody else's story from their perspective. And when we do that, like going to a movie and you come out of the movie and, oh, right, I'm me and I have to go back to my life again. That story that we've experienced can help us leave ourselves for a little period of time and experience somebody else's point of view. Wouldn't it be amazing if we all did that frequently so that we can sense the essence of each other? By sensing the essence of each other, we can become a team. And when we're a team, we're instead of banging into each other, and I always think of that flock of birds at this time of year flying around practicing for their big flight south. They don't bang into each other because they're paying attention to each other directionally. And I think, wouldn't it be amazing humans do that emotionally, socially, spiritually, physically with each other? Wouldn't it be cool? And I think COVID, just to go back to what you were saying earlier, Miriam, has caused us to learn patience from a brand new perspective and hope from a brand new perspective. And hopefully it's re-empathized our culture a little tiny bit. I'll leave it there.
Wow, I feel like a bobblehead, but ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going, yeah, yes, yes. I'm all over this. Ashok doesn't know a lot about my work. It's repetitive behavior cellular regression is a trademarked question and answer sequence that I've perfected and further developed with my business partner, who you meet here in a minute, is a question answer sequence that finds an amnesic memory in early childhood, usually pre-language, where the driver of repetitive behaviors, repetitive thoughts, and stuff like that of adults, something like was studied 100 years ago, and so what you're saying is just resonating, loving it. And Miriam?
Yes, I would like to have your opinion about this, because I heard, and it was the first time in my life that I was hearing this concept, right, during COVID, compassion fatigue, empathy fatigue, right? And in many levels and during many situations, what I hear is that became an excuse for some people to act against others or ignore others' needs, or to reduce, the how patient we are during challenging situations, or how much we embrace diversity, etc. Right? It's compassion fatigue. COVID took us to the point that we have compassion or empathy fatigue. First of all, is this a real concept? Is this really the reason why we are acting in this way? And second, if that's the case, how do we fix this? Because we cannot live in compassion fatigue or ignoring the needs of others forever.
Are you directing the question to both of us, or
Both of us? We can start with you, Ashok, please.
I don't want to be a hog here, but I'm very interested in this question. So when I get in my car and turn it on, the dashboard lights up and it gives me all this information: how much gas I have, how my engine's doing, is there an oil problem. Wouldn't it be cool if human beings had that? If we had a dashboard that could show us how we are doing. And when we talk about empathy and compassion, it is not a give until there's nothing left. You have to have boundaries around your empathy. And when you have boundaries around your empathy, you check your dashboard and say, okay, I'm running a little low on gas. I need to gas up again. And that could be recharging in any way that you choose. I'm a musician, so that's a big thing for me. And once you're recharged, then you can give again. And I always say, that poor guy that comes to the blood bank and says he wants to give blood, but he's been there 3 times that week, he needs to go home and get his blood back. So compassion and kindness and empathy, they're wonderful concepts, but we have to have boundaries. We have to see how much we have to give. And don't forget that we have to have empathy and compassion, kindness for ourselves as well. And that's when we can start to fix that issue of compassion fatigue. I'll leave it there.
Excellent. Our work with compassion fatigue, when we work with someone with PTSD, for instance, we have also found, that compassion fatigue is obvious in their caregiver spouse. And then we work with that as well. Well, we know that the primary client and the secondary, the spouse caregiver, also create an environment for children to be in that same situation. So we then work with the teenagers to work it through the family, because as you all know, it will perpetrate through the family unit if it is present. We will mirror what our parents do. And so we work with all of that to stop that and move forward. And that is a great time for me to bring in our next guest. Ashok, thank you so much for hopping in here. We know it's an odd time for you and you're in between clients, and it was just, I'm so glad that you were able to make it.
Thank you so much.
For now. I'd like to introduce behavioral scientist Jenny Landgren. Is doing amazing work over in Europe out of Sweden, and she's just a delight to have on any type of broadcast. And she was one of the first people I thought about when this came through, like you did, Miriam, with Ashok. So let's bring her on now. Hello, Jenny.
My friend, hi, it's so
Hi,
good to be
Jenny.
with you. Hi, Miriam. Thank
Nice
you.
to-
I've been listening backstage to everything, and I'm so full of ideas and perspective.
Please share with us.
Yes. Thank you, because I really I want to skip the part of introducing myself and just jump right in, but I can share a bit about that later as well. But Miriam, when you were sharing about your journey, what came to me is that sometimes we feel like we're breaking down when truly we are breaking through. And I see that with my clients, and I just had this amazing session where I can tell that there's this sense of losing control. And that's the situation that we are all in. You know, we have been through this pandemic, understanding how little control we have in this world. And also now that there's a Europe, there's a war in Europe going on, that we get to come back to caring for ourselves. And when we accept reality for what it is and we come back to the things that are within our sphere of control, and that is actually nurturing and caring in the relationship towards ourselves, we find that sense of clarity to move forward and listen to ourselves. And that's where I find my clients right now, that they are in this frustration of recognizing that there's so much outside of our control. But then in the morning, when we wake up with the intention for our filters to be, how can I care for myself today? We start listening inward, and we find that sense of clarity to reclaim our lives and go from there. So
Yes,
I just wanted to acknowledge you for everything that you shared, and what Ashok shared also. I loved every part. Like, we get to make our compassion complete by including ourselves. And that
and I have a
definitely
question about that. Sorry to interrupt you because I'm craving to hear the answer. I need that answer too. I'm working on that. I have to admit it's not a complete job yet. So I am the representation of any teacher, policeman, firefighter, of course, nurse, healthcare worker in general, right? We were raised, or at least, as soon as we got into college, we had this change in our chip that says that we need to be altruistic. Because we picked a career where we need to take care of others, and priority is others, 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 others. So in medical school, what I learned is you don't have fear, you don't have pain, you don't need to sleep, you don't need to eat, forget about weddings or holidays with your family. Priority number 1, 2, 3, 5, 10, patient care. And we have been acting like that, and we went to a point that we thought that we were superheroes, right? And teachers were at that point also during COVID, right? They were supposed to be there, and of course any other first line worker. So how do you convince someone like me, right, now that I am beyond my 40s, that I have to change everything that I learned in my life, any type of effort that I committed to be the role model that they expect me to be, and you tell me no, that was wrong. You were not supposed to have your patient as a priority. You were supposed to have yourself, and now you need to change the way that you live your life. How do you convince any of us that we were wrong, and that medical education and any other training is not well done at this point?
Oh, I will quote Terry. I love quoting Terry. You don't have to. You are free. You get to. It never takes away from your life to recognize that you have everything inside of yourself. You know, I hear you labeling yourself just as you're sharing, right? So we get to pick ourselves out of the containers and recognize that we have everything inside of ourselves. And the good news is that you are worthy. You're worthy of that sense of freedom. You are worthy of that sense of self-care and self-love and compassion. You're worthy of living a life that, you know, it's not just bare minimum you're getting by. You're actually, you know, enjoying yourself, and you're living from not just your to-do list, but your pleasure list, right? So I love that from you, Terry, that we get to.
Thanks for the plug. You know, my wife and business partner, who's getting ready to come on, and I did a YouTube video about have to versus get to, you know, where it shows the difference between have to do things and starting from lack and stress and switching that. I get to be happy. I get to be me first. I get to take care of me first, and I'm not selfish for doing so. Because like the oxygen mask on an airplane, put yours on first so you can help people. Otherwise, not good things are going to happen. And that is really spot on about how we're thinking in this world right now with this COVID. You know, we have our heroes that this program today is all about, is really talking about, you know, massively overstressed. Miriam and I have talked about this a couple of times, where, you know, those poor healthcare workers, first responders, they just go, and they feel so bad for just taking a break, let alone going and laying down for a while, that it's causing suicide ideation and massive PTSD out there. And ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are watching this right now live, thank you for being here. And for those of you who are watching the recording down the road, please contact us. Start with yourself, okay? You're not a selfish person. There is help out here. And you get to stop and take a break, okay? Because you can't keep going. You're not robots. Even robots break down. So, you know, there's a limit to everything that we're doing. And this whole show today is all about showing tools for better coping. And I mentioned it earlier about repetitive behavior cellular regression is an excellent tool. There's another one that you can do all the time, and I call it the POTS, okay? You make a circle with both of your hands, okay? In the left side, whatever you're stressing over, you get to putting stuff in there like, I hate what I'm about to do. I don't like myself today. What I'm doing in society is not working. I'm overworking myself. All the negative stuff go in this left pot. And then when you can't think of anything else, you get to think about the opposite. I'm okay. I love me. My results of the work I'm doing is something that's going to help people. All of the good things that you think about. Now, here's what you do when you're done with both pots. You put your hands together and spread them apart, and you go, you blow them out into the universe, okay? Now, I don't recommend you doing that while you're on behind the wheel driving a car, but you get the idea. Now, why do I say blow across your hands? Cellular memory, okay? When you touch your hands with the breath, your hands remember, your mind remembers the feeling of releasing. Now, when you're driving down the road, you already have a cup here and you already have a cup here. You can do that while you're driving, and you, in your mind, blow them away when you're going. Mm-hmm. That is an excellent tool. It's very short notice. It only takes a few seconds, as you already noticed. And I see my partner's here, so I'm going to bring her up here in just a moment here. Jenny, I hope you can stick around in the green room for a little while. And, sure. And we'll bring up my business partner, and it just happens to be the love of my wife. So I'm going to go bold because she's in the next off. I'm going to.
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for being with us. You are the love of my life.
Yes, it works both ways as well.
That's
We
awesome.
always say,
Go.
I was gonna say each other's cake because there's no competition. What he's good at, I'm not, and vice versa. So we're the frosting on each other's cakes. We make each other and what we do better.
That's awesome. And I would like to put kind of the cherry on the top of the cake after what Terry said so beautiful. Being vulnerable and asking for help and taking care of ourselves is not a weakness. And I learned that. And for any of you doctors, nurses, teachers, police people, etc., 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 take it from me. I am not a psychologist. I am not a counselor. I decided to stay like a physician, and I want to do that because I want to show that I can be, and all of us, we can be servant leaders, and we can keep serving our communities and the people that we love, and be able to be healthy and happy. We don't need to select between one or the other. That's not fair, and that's not
Right.
needed. We can have a complete cake and we can have the cherry. What we need to do is to start learning, yes, learning how to do it. And the best way to start is to be self-aware, to recognize that we have a gap, that we are not happy with what we are living or what is happening to us or around us. And after that, to have the courage to go and ask for help. And I mentioned the word courage because it's not a weakness. Weak people will not ask for help. Weak people will not be able to go in deep and search about their own feelings and be uncomfortable. Feeling uncomfortable and asking for help demonstrate how strong you are and how much you want to succeed in life and how much you want to fix what is happening. So don't feel afraid to feeling, and don't feel afraid of asking for help. Actually go for it, because what will happen at the other side of the fear and at the other side of the discomfort will be wonderful. It's just one step extra to go. And I hope you jump to this next step with us today, and you empathize with this. You are not weak, and people like me and like many others, we are trying so hard to show this to others so we don't have more sadness, but what we have is stories of hope. Hope you take it.
Yeah, I love that. And my background is special education, and I worked in a psychiatric day treatment center at one time with actually young children, like kindergarten through fifth grade, and they were pushed to the point of being quite violent by the time we got them. So, that's a whole other scenario in school systems. Anyways, so we had a thing when if we kind of started to like engage on almost a personal level with a child, and they were being violent, our staff would watch and then step in as needed. And we had a little code word amongst the staff, and it was called Q-tip. And it meant quit taking it personally. And so when ego kind of takes over, because ego's there to protect, when we'd hear Q-tip, we could just say thank you to our egos, and then boom, just walk away, let go of the situation, and the next staff member would be there for us. And I just really appreciated how our team got that figured out. And another story is when I was training to get my specific learning disabilities license, we set up a whole school, and we were told you have to come up with a behavior plan, and it's like, really? Okay. So our behavior plan, my team's behavior plan, was catch them being good. Catch what is working and what they are doing well, and our kids like really thrived on that. And so as I'm listening to the show and thinking about like how feelings and emotions come up, and our feelings and emotions can really grab a hold of us and stop us in our tracks. I lost my father to suicide when I was in high school. So my father was an Army vet. Anyways, so emotions really have a lot of power. And so one of the things you can do with emotions is when they come up, take a look at them, ask questions of, where you're finding them in your body, how they're feeling, where they might from. And then you can let them go by, my background's ballet. So opening your arms up like real wide, like a ballerina, right? Both arms. And just allow them to pass through you. You don't have to hang on to them. It's important to own them and figure out where they're coming from. But sometimes you don't have the ability, and it's just too much. So you can just let them go, revisit them later even. So that's one little tip I have. Another one is to go to the back of your heart. So when you put your hand over your heart and you just think about your heart and going to the very back of your heart, and then breathe and honor the emotion that's there, recognize where it's coming from, and whether it's yours or someone else's. That one is like super key. And then again, like I described, you open your arms really wide like the ballerina, and you just allow them to pass through. And another one that Terry and I talk about a lot is emotions. We'll run emotions over on the right side of our brain. It's almost like a movie player. And the thing is, we're running emotions without any logic. And so to get the logic from the left brain over to the right brain, this is what I used to teach kids, is my hand is my helper. And I use that for myself as well. Because when you there's a lot of electricity. The most electricity is this finger. Why do you think we... That's powerful finger. Anyway, so technically it's this finger and your thumb, but it's easier to remember my hand is my helper. But that will bring the logic over to those pictures, those emotional pictures that you're running. And it just slows you down like crazy. And even putting your hand on your abdomen will just bring everything down for you. And when I was talking about the hand on the heart one, just putting your hand on your heart and going to the back of your heart immediately lowers those stressful shoulders. So there's some tiny little things that you can do at work, no matter how busy you are. Hand over the forehead or hand on your heart, and it will change so much for you.
And Linda, I love what you are saying, and I was the type of person that will do absolutely zero, like zero. I will, if you will tell me all these things a couple of years ago, I will absolutely ignore you. I am being and I'm saying this loud because I know that a lot of other people will be thinking or maybe thought about this before, right? It's like,
right?
What's the science behind this, right? A physician will be like, oh my God, this is not back on science, or I don't have time for these things, or etc. But and why I'm sharing this comment, because when I started to write the book, I got very surprised, and one of my most difficult chapters actually was on spirituality, and I felt that I have to write about it. Even I consider myself someone that is fighting with the idea of God and spirituality all the time, right? They have this love-hate relationship. So I actually start talking with different people, trying to understand and trying to be unbiased, and I started reading and learning, and I learned about mindfulness and spirituality and many other things, right? Positive intelligence techniques and etc. And the things that you guys are sharing, and what is very interesting is that there is some type of science, and there are studies behind those things backing up these techniques, which is number one, I believe is important. So it's not just, something magical happening.
Right.
But also is not everything needs to fit you. And I use that idea in the book, and I believe that that's what we are trying to share with you guys here. The fact that you may not do yoga or meditation because it doesn't fit you, right? But for you, exercising is great, or painting, or doing music like Ashok. Ashok is super artistic. He's amazing, right? Or writing a book that I use for my therapy. My book was my psychotherapy, right? Journey. So anything that fits you and that fits your lifestyle and that you will believe on will be helpful. You don't need to just follow everything that everybody is telling you. You need to be open-minded enough to try to find out where do you belong and help yourself
Yeah.
with that type of technique, and that's it. You don't need to do 10 different things. You don't need to believe on 10 different things. Just trust one, follow it, and help yourself and help the people that is around you, because that will change your quality of life tremendously. And the second thing that I want to say is, do not expect magic to happen from one day to the other. That will not be like that. So I just want to manage expectations, right? Because yes, at the moment that you take a deep breath, yes, believe me, I feel much better. It's like the times that I get my chocolate and I do my mindfulness, like eating chocolate, really make me feel my best. Oh, excellent.
Get
But
your magnesium.
and the serotonin and everything that is inside. But this will not last forever. And this will not disappear, the situations that are around you or the problems that you are facing. These are just techniques that help you to kind of reset and to be able to continue with your day and take better decisions and to, in some way, build the strength and develop the growth that you need for the next challenge. So this is like going to the gym, the same way that you get better muscles and you get stronger when you exercise your muscles, right? You exercise your feelings, you exercise your soul, you exercise your emotions. And if you are caring with your body, your physical body, I believe that we need to be very caring, like also with our emotional body, because that's the one that allows us to function and interact with others and to achieve our dreams and to achieve our well-being.
Absolutely. Yes. And spirituality isn't even Terry. It's not muted. Spirituality doesn't even mean that you have a God. Yeah, so religion is about having gods and deities. So spirituality is about how connected we all are, even when we're not here in a physical body. So I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that perspective. And with some of the stuff, and I don't know if doctors believe in kinesiology and muscle testing or lie detector tests. You can see the difference even with those tools.
Yeah, and I believe that we need to be humble in medicine and in any other career, right? We need to be humble and understand that there is not just one way to do things, right? And be cultural aware also, right? Because we may have people from different countries and different cultures that heal in different ways. We cannot dismiss acupuncture, for example, or we cannot dismiss yoga, right? In the case of the Indian cultures, we need to understand that there are other ways to do things, and we can explore them and be curious about them. We can find something that fits us better. If that's how we feel, doesn't matter. This is not a question that what is better, is what is better for you, and just go for it. Yes, we are not forcing anybody to do something. We are just letting you know there are ways to do it. There are many ways to do it, and the result will be wonderful. Doesn't matter what you do, something good will happen to you. You will have a wonderful life after that. Just do it. Just jump to the pool, because that pool has water. So you will not have any problem after jumping.
What a great exchange. I'm going to hop in here because I'm going to ask Jenny to come back in here. Jenny has done work in exactly what we're talking about, and I would love her perspective. So Jenny, here we come.
Oh, thank you.
Right.
I'm so happy to be back. Terry, tell me a bit more about where you were going. I'm happy. I have so many thoughts in my mind from what you guys were just sharing.
Well, you have doing work with your clients. Well, there's one in the United States. Obviously, we won't drop names or anything, but your work with working them through this self-talk. Okay. Yes. And so I thought of you, and we're getting ready to launch a book here next month, where Linda and Jenny and I and a gentleman, John Chapelier, talking about people. And it just brings up, some of the stuff that we talked about in that book is really relevant right now because, ladies and gentlemen, it's about you first. This whole thing is about you first and giving you some little tools so that you can reach out to any or all of us. And as a matter of fact, Linda and I have a great reputation out here in the coaching business. Go see Terry and Linda, because if they don't know, they know who does. Okay. And we do. All right. And so does Jenny and Miriam. And so I do want that to come to the floor and pass it back over to you, Jenny, if you got something.
Yes, I have so much and it's out of inspiration from what you have recently just shared in this conversation. Miriam, you were sharing how it's like going to the gym. And what came up for me is how rest is equally important as the workout as we go to the gym. And we tend to forget that. And we tend to have this, we frame our sense of how we feel about resting is like that didn't do anything. If someone reaches out and I had planned to rest that day, I say, oh, I don't have anything going on. I can just, I'll come help you. So there are so many shifts of perspective that we get to make that makes a huge difference in that way that we care for ourselves. Rest is so effective. If I tell my clients, if you schedule to just bench watch a series or like care for yourself that day, then your schedule is full. That's busy. You are so busy. And we get to reframe often to show ourselves some grace and self-compassion. And the rest, Terry, you know what happens when we rest. That's when the good stuff comes to us. That's when we get a sense of clarity that, helps us take that next step. It's so important.
And this is so interesting, right? I appreciate that you are bringing the topic of rest, because again, many of us in the healthcare system and other servant leaders will be very afraid of the word rest. It's like we do not rest, right? We don't have the right to rest. My husband will tell you that I do not take vacations, and my vacations, even if I take them, I am planning my next, adventure, and I will get busy because I have no idea what to do with rest and vacations and time off. It's like I never had them. And we are talking about decades. And talking about that with one of my friends as a physician that became also a counselor, she told me that I am a doer because I need to do because I don't know how to be. And that many times the reason why I am doing and not being is because I don't want to confront my uncomfort and my feelings, and I am protecting myself getting busy instead of having a time to find out who I am, how I feel. What would you recommend someone like me, someone that is trying to get distracted while being busy and running out of emotions and feelings?
Thank you. I love your vulnerability. I love that I get to connect with you. So real. I'd say that the reason why you do it is because somewhere deep down you are connected to the fact that you are worthy of feeling safe. And when we shift our perspective on how we view ourselves, and we start giving ourselves the same things that we give to others when we want them to be comfortable in our own company, we start loving on them, be understanding and curious and open-minded and wanting to connect. It gets so much easier to be in our own company when we treat ourselves with that same sense of grace. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I connect people, or can I connect people? What an amazing conversation. We've tried to stay right around 45 minutes, and we're getting close to that now. So Jenny, thank you so much for hopping in with us. It was fabulous. In fact, I think you and Miriam probably ought to do a little connecting and have some more discussion, because I think that's where that's going. So I'm going to give you some final thoughts, and thank you for being with us. Do you have something?
Are you asking me?
Yes.
Yes.
Anything, final thoughts for today?
Final thoughts. If anyone has questions or wants to follow up with me, feel free to reach out. I'm on LinkedIn, and I think that I'm so happy. I'm just enjoying, I'm stepping into pleasure of being with you guys, and that's where I am. So I feel content and full.
Fabulous, fabulous. Well, I'm going to throw it over to my partner and let her bring in some final thoughts. And again, Jenny, thank you so much for being with us.
Yes. Oh, I love how this went. Dr. Miriam, thank you so much. How you pulled it back to the real concerns for the audience that you were really dialing into. I really love that. And the bottom line of all of this is do what is right for you. And having that awareness that, oh, this is why I'm doing it the way I'm doing it. I loved how you pulled in that perspective too. Instead of like, oh no, this is just the way I do it. It's like, am I avoiding certain things? And I love the way Jenny pulled that in. That was just so edifying, that you do have that respect for self. I love that.
Thank you so much, Linda.
Conversation, guys. Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Let me unmute. Wow, my friend. I knew this was going to be fully educational and relevant. And a few things that were said today really touched my heart. And I know it's touching all of you out there, ladies and gentlemen, our heroes that work so hard at what you're doing. You know, that's military, that's everybody. Okay. You put your life on the line every day because COVID is serious, and avian flu. And we can go on and on and on. And being in harm's way in the field for the military and everybody else, we feel for, we understand it. I'm ex-military. I'm a veteran too. I understand where each day can be the last. And Dr. Miriam, you've been in the front lines too. And this has just been fabulous.
I'm very grateful for the opportunity, and probably the last thing I want to say is let people to help you recover control on your life, push forward a little more, just a little more, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is amazing people surrounding you. You just need to raise your hand and ask for help, and you will be surprised, the same that I was. I am any of you. I am exactly like you, maybe with different colors, different, accent, different backgrounds, but we are all together in this one. And if you are suffering, please reach out. Let people to help you. Don't feel alone. You are not. You belong to a bigger family, a family of people that want to do their best for others, that are having sacrificing their lives, that are having given their hearts for others. But this is the time for you to stop a little, to pause, and to let others to help you, because you deserve that. I deserve that. We deserve to heal so we can be the parents that we want to be, the wife and the husbands, the daughters and siblings, and the doctors and police and military that we want to be. For that, we need to heal. For that, we need to take care of ourselves. It's not selfish, as Terry mentioned. Actually, it's our responsibility. We are responsible for others, but in order to be responsible for others, we need to be first responsible for ourselves. And that's what we promised when we decided to take the careers that we took, is we will help others, but start with yourself. And thank you so much for allowing us to touch your heart and to touch your life today. I hope that we are bringing you hope and opportunities, and reach out. We are here.
There's a little follow-up from our friend Jenny. Thank you, Jenny. That was a delightful comment. Yes, I too resonate what Dr. Z is saying. You know, I stood on the edge of a roof of a 29-story condominium building, right on the edge, as calm as I am right now talking to you. I was done. It wasn't crying. It wasn't high emotion. It wasn't anything. I was done. It was just step. And something happened. I heard the words wherever they came from, higher, whatever. Turn around, I got work for you. And ladies and gentlemen, I turned around and here I am. Within 6 months, repetitive behavior, cellular regression was discovered with me helping somebody on Facebook on a different continent. She was in Australia and I was in America. I was helping. And I had a hunch, and it developed into a U.S. trademarked global question and answer sequence that really helps people. And Dr. Z, this has been fabulous. Thank you, my friend, for doing this with me. I am so in love with you and what you're doing out there. And ladies and gentlemen, thanks again for being part of our day. And we hope that it becomes part of your year. Thanks for now, and goodbye.
Take care and happy holidays.